So the division has already started. Ever since this talk about an extra state for the Southeast came into the news, there have been several Igbos that have been speaking about it, and it's all tended towards the fact that Igbos are beginning to be divided about it. At the end of the day, because of this division, the government at the center would say, you know what, because you guys are fighting about it, you guys are not united about it. We can just basically keep it. Okay, so let's talk about it. Someone wrote on his Facebook page, and I just said I should highlight it because it's also highlights some other places. I've seen several other talk about it, but this is a little bit deeper than what I've seen elsewhere. It says to Ned Nwoko's claims of Igbo-ness, I replied, marriage of convenience. Because you seek the creation of a Anioma state, you are now Igbo. Perhaps thereafter you would revert to your identity crisis. Adada state takes precedence over Anioma state. Adada has been there since 1970 with full paraphernalia for creation. Meanwhile, while Adada is in the southeast, Anioma is a contraption right there in the south-south. If southeast would get a state, Anioma is out of the question. And of course, you know that would not go down with people who also think that Anioma deserves a state. The Delta Igbos, Delta North, right now are mostly Igbos. Ebio Igbo is a speak Igbo, and all of those things. Democletus says, state creation isn't served a la carte. You engage in others to secure it. You fight for it. Thus far, there is absolutely no voice from Adada land speaking vociferously about the creation of Adada state. I ask, what roles are the leaders of that zone playing in that regard? Even if Anioma state doesn't come to fruition, I don't also see Adada state emerging going by the influencer's attitude, or I don't care attitude, if you like, of her leaders of thought. Another person now replied to him and said, just like my opinion too, we are speechless while other regions are fighting for their own state creation. Our elites are deaf and dumb and speechless at the National Assembly. Opmansuka has blocked our brains. Steving says, I said it before and now I'm saying it again. Only a fool in the southeast state will say no to Anioma state, or that Anioma belongs to South. People, the late Buhari put us in the dots because we are in the southeast alone. But with Anioma state, we are out of the Buhari dots. So Anioma is good for us. As we know, it is the war that divided us into South and Southeast. If you are wise, say yes to Anioma state. Be your brother's keeper. This one says, now you come. Once in a while, do assure us that you are still our blood. Ifesinachi says, your point is valid, but the point Ned made on TV that the denial of their Igbo origin by some people from there was caused by their experience during the Civil War is also valid. If you knew of the Asaba massacre, where all adult male from the age of 18 were assembled in the village square and executed by the Nigerian military led by Murtala Mohammed, you won't blame them. Even when the war was officially declared over, the few of them that survived it were warned never to identify themselves as Igbos to prevent future repeats of that genocide. Many people that had their experience will do same, but it is true Adada state has been in the southeast state creation agitation long before Anioma. This one says, if Anioma is created and added to the southeast, nothing like denying their Igbo-ness, because southeast will be known as usual as an Igbo-speaking state. Eddie Sampson says, sir, everything is not political propaganda. You and I know that our brothers at the riverine areas or regions need to claim their Igbo identity back, and Anioma State is the sure bet. Anioma State shall be more beneficial to the entire southeastern region zone than Adada State. We need our brothers back, Biko. Anioma is the best for us. Okay says, I disagree with this post. The Anioma has never deliberately denied their Igbo-ness. They speak Igbo proudly. They bear Igbo names proudly, dress Igbo, and observe all Igbo culture and traditions. They were proud Igbos all through and their sons fought on the side of Biafra with several thousands paying the supreme sacrifice in the struggle. The trauma and aftermath of the Biafran War, particularly the Asaba massacre, haunted them for a long time. I would rather we pushed for the creation of our Adada state without demarketing others' agitation for their own state. We have many strong and powerfully superior arguments to put forward than attacking the integrity of our Anioma brothers with such biased rhetoric as a people suffering an identity crisis and denying their Igbo-ness. Like some people rightly asserted, politics of the state creation is not a tea party neither. It is served a la carte or achieved through critical and unfair social media brickbat. It requires smart diplomacy, skillful lobbying, and broad engagement from those agitating. Emotional sentiments do not win support in the politics of state creation. Bearing you false witness against others agitating for their own state also does not. Politics of state creation is not same as the unconscionable and dubious politics of converting Enugu state to an APC. To achieve our that dream, let us put forward. Okay, let me finish this particular line before I jump into this one. But unconscionable and dubious politics of converting Enugu state to an APC state through blackmail, intimidation, and taking of undue advantage. To achieve our Adada dream, let us put forward our strong argument of being the oldest agitation, of being the most populated, of our economic viability, of our cultural identity and affinity, and other compelling attributes of a people who's deserving of their own state. Importantly, let us, or let those representing us at the National Assembly, wake from their slumber, rise to the occasion, engage more effectively with their colleagues, and make a most compelling case for Adada state creation. This is not the time to continue with political timidity. This is the time to show capacity and prove their mettle as effective representatives of our people. Anioma is Igbo, Walter Ozioko says, but it is not in the southeast. If southeast deserves a state, Adada state creation remains the solution notwithstanding. That in politics, a pope can even be branded an armed robber to drive a point. Okay, look at the point now. Look at what everybody's saying. And everybody is really, really valid. I mean, you'll be shocked that it's not even Adada and Anioma that has been talking about an extra state. An extra carving of states. We've seen people talk about a TT state, ETI, a TT state. We've seen people talk about, as I think there were like 7 states that they wanted to even carve out from Southeast. But my point is, the Joint Committee of the National Assembly have said we should create one more state for the Southeast because every other region has either 6 or 7 states. So it is left for us to produce this thing with one voice, somewhat, in order to make this thing work. I don't know where this division is coming from. There is even one that I saw that was, the guy is from Delta States, and I was stunned at what he even wrote. In fact, he said in fact that he's no longer interested in all this talk about Igbo state or Igbo state, that when it comes to real issues that Igbos are vacillating. They are just not right. I mean, if you add Anioma to the region as the 6th state, it becomes an Igbo state, Igbo speaking place automatically. And they are not even denying that they are not Igbos. Everything they do is Igbo. Even down to rivers, down to Abo. They are all Igbo speaking areas. The last conversation that we had about this back and forth is rivers, Ikwere being whether Ikwere is Igbo. Like I'm saying Ikwere. Like, is it because they added R on in all of those Umu Igbo, Umu this thing that is littered around? Is it because they put R? They're all Igbo locations, and it was rightly because of the war. That was the reason why the Gowon wanted to separate Southeast from South because he singled out the Southeasterner as people to be punished because of the Civil War. And so they said, okay, let's separate these people who are speaking this other language and isolate these people and then continue the marginalization. That's what it was up until this moment. Anioma is clearly Igbo, and truth be told, they told those people in the Delta North that they should never accept that they are Igbos, else they are going to keep killing them. And that was the reason why anybody you ask in Delta North, whether it's Igbo, the person is bearing Igbo name or speaking Igbo, understands Igbo, do Igbo culture, but tell and say that Igbo, you could say like, it's not Igbo. That was all. Even an Ikwere man, even this Wike, Amechi, all of them are all Igbos. But ask them today, are you Igbo? They're not Igbo. But if it is politically correct, yes, they are Igbos. If it's not politically correct, I'm not Igbo. Then they'll even be they'll start quoting nonsense. It's crazy that this kinds of thing I even have a way to even divide us. It's superfluous. It's madness. I'm stunned that we as an Igbo nation would have a reason to get divided by things like this. This is the easiest decision to take. And then we are here going back and forth about it. And now, at the end of the day, the government will look at it and say, I beg, I don't want to add more problem to what are. Let's even leave them at that they are 5. And so that everybody would basically rest. You know. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you as always. Take care.